So about 2 years into running Equitable Payments of the 10 years it's been, I had a friend from Emory move back to Atlanta from law school, and she said to me, I don't know where to go to make friends after college. Everywhere I go, I feel like everyone's my parents' age. I'm getting hit on, I'm getting sold to, or it's just a big sales, or like it's all the same people in the same industry.
Right.
And she said, I just want to know where to make friends and peers and not feel any of those things. And I thought, well, my favorite thing in the world and the thing that I think I'm best at is connecting people. So I said, I don't know where that place is. I've been deeply entrenched in the Atlanta networking community, growing my credit card processing company, and I've not seen it. So why don't I start it for you? And that was March of 2011. And the first event had 94 people, and the energy was electric. And they basically just said, do it again. And
this is pre-meetup and all that too, right?
I mean, this was, we just kind of like I cobbled it together and just invited everyone I knew and told them to tell people and just made it clear, this is none of the things that we described we were looking for it not to be, and set the culture that way. And so month after month, people just kept saying, please do another, to the point where I was like, people are paying me to come to this. They're begging me to keep doing it. I have venues asking me to host them. I have sponsors coming to the table. And then out of nowhere, Inc. magazine showed up to an event without telling me. I didn't even know they were there when they were there. And they ended up publishing an article that said almost verbatim, networking events suck. However, here's one that's doing it right, and pointed to my tiny little event in Atlanta, which then kind of blew it up because I got calls from people all over the world saying, we want to do this in our city. Can you help us? And I started thinking, I need to systemize this and help people do this in other places, which I later did, which helped us grow into other markets.
And did you personally go to DC, Nashville, Baltimore, like all of these different markets and build that? Or?
Well, I did in the sense of I would go to like check out what they were up to, but I would hire a local person on the ground who was more connected with the venues and had influence in their own networks and was able to build it out through our rubric and framework with our back-end support.
Okay. That's awesome. So from there, is that what started Life by Design? Like, how did you get into that?
Yeah. So about
mindset.
2 years ago or so, I had this going to get a little woo-woo sounding, this intuitive knowing where I was like, something is coming to be in my career. The hit basically told me there's a new incarnation coming. And then I was like, well, what is it? And I had to basically take the time to figure out what that was. And at this point, I had been 8 years into entrepreneurship. A lot of my businesses were pretty steady. I had been able to build teams and take myself out of being the middle person who had to be there for everything to operate.
Right.
And I was finally able to enjoy the fruits of my labor. And I was like, oh, I kind of want to coast for a minute. But I kind of felt like I couldn't escape this intuition that was saying, there's something coming. And so I spent 6 months doing a lot of different exercises that I created to help people in my network reflect things back to me, to help me go deep on some of what was I missing, like what was it that this was talking about. And after all of it, I came to realize that the number one question that people were coming to me for at that stage of my life was asking me, how do you live the life that you do?
Okay.
And what they meant by that when I would dig deeper was they would say things like, how do you run multiple companies? How do you travel 50 to 60% of the time for pleasure and operate them? How do you be in rooms like Davos, TED, and the UN? How do you work with celebrities and influencers? And I did all of it because it felt like a natural outgrowth, and it felt in service, and it was never because I was trying to show off or make people feel a certain way. But they would come, and basically the through line was that they wanted the flexibility and freedom that I had created in a way that worked for them. And they felt really stuck and unsure of how to get out of the rat race and the wheel that they were on of just living this kind of status quo, check the boxes, hustle, grind, burnout thing that I had been in too. I did a lot of that when I started my company and in the earlier stages of my career.